an introduction. I'll be speaking
Slow.
about choosing a fellowship, helping residents choose a fellowship. I hope you all like my talk. I have tried to make it very interesting and understandable, and I hope it will help residents in choosing and narrowing down to a fellowship. End of residency is a very daunting period in one's life, in one's academic career, because the daunting task of choosing the next step is looming. But one thing is clear at the end of residency, after speaking to a lot of residents and being a recent resident myself, we are pretty much clear about what we don't want. No offense to anybody, in my opinion, what I didn't want was what people don't want, not what I didn't want. There is no offense to anybody. Most residents don't want to take up squint, neuro-ophthalmology, oculoplasty, or pediatric ophthalmology. In my case, my choices for fellowship were retina and uvea, or squint and neuro-ophthalmology, and I was pretty clear about not wanting oculoplasty because there were too many surgical planes, very confusing, and cornea was too precise for my taste. So one thing we are clear about is what we don't want. When it comes to what we do want, what interests us or what we envision for ourselves, it is difficult to choose. Like I said, I was interested in 4 subspecialties. I found it really helpful to answer these 4 questions. This is a questionnaire which I have borrowed from a concept which I'll be coming to at the end of this talk. All these 4 questions make you narrow down to one particular thing in which you can spend the rest of your professional life in. The questions are: what do I love? Am I good at it? Does my community need what I'm good at? And fourth, can I make money off of it? So, coming to what I love, what do I love? Why do I love it? Do I have exposure to it? Have I developed love for it by reading? Is it because I got inspired by some seniors? Or is it my personal calling? So, what I love is either my passion or mission in life. So, coming to interest or what I love because I got exposed to a particular specialty. This passion or loving for specialty can be got by either watching a well-equipped department at work, uh, watching, assisting, or doing surgeries in that specialty, seeing the outcomes, gratifying outcomes of these surgeries, looking at patient feedback and their perception of the specialty, and understanding the needs of this specialty finance-wise. So this passion is got by exposure. Coming to interest or passion got based on reading. This is very theoretical. When you go into nitty-gritty of any specialty, you are bound to get interested in it. So again, that contributes to passion. Coming to inspiration by seniors, like my co-instructors here, especially the chief instructor, Dr. Guru Prasad, wanting to be like someone can be a very powerful motivation to get interest in that specialty. But we have to remember that everyone's journey may be different. So let us revisit this questionnaire. Now we know the reasons of why we love that specialty. Coming to the next question, am I good at it? This is a very tricky area because natural aptitude for something may be there, may not be there in many of the residents. A lack of it, a lack of a natural flair for diagnosing or operating in a particular specialty should not be deterring at the residency stage, because you may feel that you're not good at it, but later you can acquire this flair. So natural aptitude is not something you should base your specialty on. So coming to the next part of the diagram or the Venn diagram. Now we have looked at why I love something. Then we have that makes up for our passion. Coming to what we are good at can be our passion and profession, and being paid for it can contribute to the profession as well. So if we are good at something, we should never do it for free. So what can I be paid for it is something I should decide, or people should decide, depending on the place where I settle that is the scope of the specialty in that place. This should also not be a deterring factor, because we can, I suppose somebody wants to take up retina, for example, in a big city like Mumbai, Bangalore, even Delhi, there are too many VR surgeons. Almost every street has a VR surgeon in metros, but that should not be a deterrent. Ideally, we need to identify the needs of that particular place and cater to them. One of the fellows I have interacted with in Bombay actually is a VR surgeon, a trained VR surgeon, and is from a small place in Gujarat, and he's now catering to ROP in most of rural Gujarat. So he has achieved something by standing out from the rest of the VR surgeons in his area, and he's providing ROP services which was never there. So coming to what we love, which is our passion, what we are good at, making it our profession, and being paid for it also kind of reinforces our choice for our profession. So we have multiple expectations from life. What expectations they can be? It can be monetary expectations. It can be an expectation of having a teaching career. You may expect to become a researcher and want to do research and get a fulfilling career in that, or your expectation in that may be charitable work. So these expectations drive our mission in choosing our career. Then coming to what the world needs or what our community needs. So when we look at charitable centers or charitable surgeries, what we do, it can be really gratifying to see the joy and the compassion that you feel after giving so much of joy to a patient who can finally see after being visually debilitated for many years due to a simple cataract. It can be quite gratifying. So what the world needs, and our own love, passion, our mission in life, our profession, being paid for it, being good at it, can finally become what the world needs in the larger picture. So coming to the last part of my talk, some nuggets are: we should decide when to settle. We should have the correct attitude towards fellowship because it's an investment for future. We should not hurry to settle into practice. There are many misconceptions that you should, go straight into the market, go straight into practice and start your own setup. So this is an incorrect attitude. Investment in your education and investment in your professional learning goes a very long way. Just 1 year more or even 18 months more, extending your fellowship, as in 2 years of fellowship plus 6 months plus 1 year or 18 months in the institution where you're working, never harms you. It's a very small investment in the long professional career of almost 3 decades. So it is very worth investing that amount of time in learning ourselves and developing academic interest and enthusiasm to keep updating ourselves. So once we get into practice, it's very difficult to go for fellowships in India or abroad. It's very difficult to take a break from practice and go in for a fellowship in between these high yielding first few years of practice when we are trying to make a name for ourselves. Coming to another very important part, that is finances. We need to have it figured out largely. First few years of the practice will be only to break even and not for profit. There are many family commitments that we need to look into. There are loans to repay. So finances should be figured out largely. Coming to family support, the spouse should be willing to understand that there are many years needed for training, and this may result in this era of long distance relationships. This is my husband on a video call looking at my young daughter, and you may have to end up living apart from very young children and missing out on their early childhood years. So, this is an example of this Venn diagram that I found very relevant for this talk. So, what do I love? Suppose I love pediatric ophthalmology, cornea, refractive surgery, and it's getting confusing for me to choose what I want to do. These are my passions. So, this is included in this Venn diagram. What am I good at? I'm good at dealing with kids. I'm surprisingly good at making a posterior capsulorhexis. I'm also very good at assessing squints and arriving at a correct diagnosis. I have seen residents making diagnosis of dissociated vertical deviations and skew deviations. And this can be part of my profession. What can I be paid for? Nobody is going to pay me for a great diagnosis of DVD or a skew deviation. What I can be paid for rather is management of strabismus, management of amblyopia, helping children with specific learning disabilities. This is something I can be paid for, especially in this time of uh, uh, liaisons with psychiatrists and psychologists, helping children holistically, especially with those having learning disabilities. Vision is a very important thing, so that I can be paid for, and that can also be my vocation because I want to help children come out of SLDs. What is my mission? It can be to visually empower all children. What the world needs or what your community needs is a pediatric ophthal department in a decrepit government medical college, and this in turn can be your vocation. So all this can be something contributory to ikigai. In case you're wondering what ikigai is, this is a Japanese concept referring to having a direction or purpose in life, having a sense of, and towards which persons can make actions which gives them satisfaction and a sense of meaning. This is the Ikigai book. So I will use the Ikigai concept again to help a resident choose a fellowship. So what I love is retina and uvea. I have a passion for uveal diagnostics and retinal surgery. What I am good at is again diagnostics and surgery. So this can be my profession. I can be paid for complex retinal surgeries, diabetic vitrectomies in my region, which has a big need for it. My local there are no VR surgeons nearby, so I can make the most of it. I can be a niche person and I can provide VR services to my community, and that is my vocation. And my mission is to get rid of diabetic retinopathy uh, problems causing irreversible blindness. So that can be my mission. So I will choose VR surgery rather than uvea for my life purpose. So that is my ikigai. So I hope I made it easy little by answering some philosophical questions. So over to you, sir.